Morning, guys. Still Friday. So I wanted to talk about real quick here what we talked about maybe a week or so back with, like Prepper Now says all the time, keep your head on a swivel. Okay. It's a good military term too, but, he kind of brings it to the forefront. Pay attention to what's going on around you. Like I talked last week, you're going to have bad actors out there with the end of unemployment, with the rental moratorium ending. God knows the cost of rent is going up. I saw something yesterday that, the rent up in Boise, Idaho was up 40% year over year. People are having a hard time coping with everything that's going on. And when you get a situation where people don't cope well, people will tend to do some irrational stuff. Now, if you noticed what happened yesterday, a couple of scary moments. You had a guy who, I'm not going to name his name, I'm not going to give him any recognition, but even if I did, you probably couldn't find him because he's already been scrubbed from Facebook and Twitter and all this sort of crap. But he had decided to park his truck in front of the Library of Congress and threaten to detonate a explosive device. Okay, so let's just leave it that way. Now, apparently he had an ammo can full of ammonium nitrate, same stuff that was used for the Murrah Federal building. Okay, an ammo can full is not going to take out 2.5 city blocks, like he said, but it would certainly have taken out the truck and enough to scare enough people. Now, fortunately, Capitol Police and everything, he surrendered, but not before making demands that, things like we carpet bomb Afghanistan and Biden steps down and all this sort of stuff. Unhinged. Okay. There was also a scare yesterday in Times Square, New York City. Somebody had thrown a cookie tin into a crowd in Times Square. And of course, nothing had, they evacuated and the whole 9 yards. So, this comes back to if you see something, say something. But I'm going to take it a step further. If you see something, get the hell away from it, okay? If there's a backpack lying unattended, get away, all right? It's just, you don't know. And, again, we talk about constitutional carry. We talk about paying attention to what's going on. You've got to have your situational awareness. You've got to notice that things look outside the ordinary, okay? If something doesn't look right, get away from it and potentially tell somebody about it, okay? An authority. Yeah, and I know there's so many people in here go, but the cops aren't our friends, yada, yada, yada. Well, okay, but, danger isn't your friend either, okay? So, of course, the media picks up on this, and with everything else going on, and the talk of resettling all these Afghanis in the United States, like I talked about this morning, bringing them in for free, and the new P2 visa that they're fast tracking, that these guys get to come in. Guys, okay, again, if you look on any of the pictures of the planes, try to find a female face in there, you're not going to. Okay, it's all guys, 20-ish something, but they're bringing in all these people, and you have these rhino governors, plus some of the Democrats, Charlie Baker and Brian Kemp, and so, bring them into my state. It's okay, right. Fortunately, there is a lot of resistance to that as well. Now, if you guys don't know about this part, Trump did sign an executive order that Biden, of course, rescinded, that said that states could resist the resettlement of migrants, okay? And this was started by Tennessee, and of course, Biden rescinded it, and Biden is now coming out and saying that the states have no say in the matter on where the federal government resettles migrants, Okay, whether they come across the southern border, whether they're flying on U.S. air for free, coming from Kabul. Biden is now saying, of course, he can put them wherever the hell he wants. Well, we saw what happened in Minneapolis, for example. Okay, it's a complete Somali city right now, and they've taken over everything and turned it into Mogadishu. But of course, you have the media jumping on board, and anything to push away from Biden's fiasco of a disaster, they're going to praise him for. So the media is now coming out with all these two events yesterday, at least the one big time in the one in DC. Okay. This guy in DC does not represent the majority of Americans. Okay. No different than Jeffrey Dahmer did, or Timothy McVeigh did, or anything like that, okay? But the media is trying to paint it that way, that there are 80 million potential terrorists, i.e. the Trump voters, the actual number of people that voted for him, the Trump voters, that we're all potential terrorists. And you guys have talked about some of the stuff that's come out of DHS, and, we talked about some of these executive orders and who they're trying to claim are terrorists, okay? But, so NBC was, big on this yesterday, and they were trying to talk about how, the fear and the fear-mongering of the right-wing news channels, okay? No, it's not fear-mongering that's coming out of the right-wing news channels, okay? The Foxes, if you'll still consider them right-wing, the OANNs, the Breitbarts, the Newsmaxes, whatever would be, okay? They're not fear-mongering. They're telling people the truth. And in the warped mind of leftists, the truth is dangerous, okay? No, that's pretty much the definition of communism. But there was a real interesting quote that came out of one of the talking heads over on NBC yesterday. And he said, the craziness, the unhinged people, the people willing to commit violence are becoming large enough and no longer a fringe and now mainstreamed that we do have to worry about them, and we do have to worry about the next one. Okay. I wouldn't consider that, if I read that comment and didn't know who said it, I would be certain this guy was talking about Antifa, Black Lives Matter, and literally the 46 administration, okay? Think I'm kidding about the 46 information? The craziness, you're led by a Looney Tune, okay? Unhinged people, that would be your vice president, that would be Nancy Pelosi, that would be Chuck Schumer, that would be Adam Schiff, et cetera, et cetera. The people willing to commit violence are becoming large enough and no longer a fringe. I don't know, maybe the Clintons, okay? Now mainstreamed, I don't know, the media has something to do with that we do have to worry about them, and we have to worry about the next one. Yeah, I'll take that quote and point it straight at the donkey party. Enjoy those jackasses. Have a nice Friday morning. Pinball out.